Welcome, everybody, to the maiden voyage of Hurricane Warning, the place where Kendall Sports Network talks Canes. I'm here with my boy, Miami Manny. How you doing, Manny?
Doing great, brother. How are you?
I'm doing all right, bro. I can't complain. The Canes are 6-0. It's a lot. We have two teams ahead of us with one loss, but there'll be plenty of time to get into all of that. All right, we'll begin with, like we said, Canes on a bye week last week. They come into this week still at number 6, which I think is a crock. Ohio State loses to Oregon, albeit it's a close game.
Crazy game.
And Georgia with one loss, also ahead of us. Texas at 1, Oregon at 2, Penn State 3, and then Ohio State and Georgia at 4 and 5, and then the Canes at 6. I wish we were ahead of those one-loss teams, but
yeah.
What has Miami done to jump those one-loss teams?
Yeah, realistically speaking, looking at schedule, who we've played, we've played some good teams, some good, strong, physical, defensive teams. When we talk about, USF, that was a huge physical game. Virginia Tech, who always plays us well no matter what. But they're always well-coached, physical team. Cal, who not a lot of people knew.
That defense is legit.
It's legit, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, who Cal played?" And you know what, the proof's in the pudding. They gave us hell for most of that game, and it just, who have we realistically number ranked wise played? I believe in our team. I believe that we could get there. But when we talk about, Georgia, who realistically their only loss was that comeback win from Alabama, which was...
Yes, and at the time it looked like a great loss, right? If there is such a thing. But Alabama hasn't looked great after either, so...
They've had their hiccups. Definitely, I think missing Saban, has kind of hurt them. Losing somebody like that definitely, rocks the boat a little bit. Not saying they have a bad coach, but when you lose a legend like that, it does, it takes a hit. Your program takes a hit. But again, and we'll get there. We'll definitely get there. And at the end of the day, we can only play who's on our schedule. The important thing is handle our business, and we've done that. So whatever they want to say is whatever they want to say, but we can only play who we got, and we've played and beat everybody we have.
To a certain... Okay, so yes, we're 6-0. We've beaten everybody we're supposed to beat. We've beaten everybody who we've had in front of us. However, it hasn't been smooth sailing. This has been the ugliest 6-0 while looking good this team can have, because Virginia Tech wasn't pretty. Cal, up until the last quarter and a half, not even. Last quarter and a half wasn't pretty either. The difference is we have a Heisman Trophy candidate. I don't know if he's the favorite, but a Heisman Trophy candidate at quarterback. I realistically think that the only piece missing from this team is just some upgrades at some skill positions, like wide receiver, and maybe some pieces in the secondary. Because I think at the linebacker level and the defensive line level, the O-line, I think, is top notch.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what Mario's known for. So as far as trenches, I mean, when we talk about the difference between a Manny Diaz team and a Mario Cristobal team, the trenches are night and day difference. Yeah, it's insane. Kind of backtracking. We've had difficult times, but the sign of a good football team is, how do we overcome when everything is going wrong? How do we respond? When we're a Manny Diaz team, if that situation happens, we're losing that game no matter what. Yes. We don't find ways to win. We find ways to lose, right?
Yeah, I agree. We find ways to lose and we fold.
And I know Mario's been criticized in past years, for certain, decisions, and we don't have to go into that. We wouldn't have to go into that. But listen. We're all human. We all make mistakes. But look what Mario's done right now. You know, um, I haven't seen any coaching mistakes this year, at least from my eyes. Um,
There's
have cost us games.
no,
None.
no, no, no. But I still have an issue with some clock management, some timeout management. Um,
Can't be worse than Virginia Tech's head coach. I'll tell you that.
well, I mean, listen. At the end of the day, he got them. They were what, a Hail Mary away. So whatever he did, it wasn't that bad. But yes, you're
Well,
right. That was
if you
mismanaged.
look back at that though, and a lot of Virginia Tech fans want to say, well, they should have, called it a touchdown or whatever, right? Um, but let's be honest here. If their coach used their timeouts more effectively in
Efficiently,
that
yes.
last drive, they would have put them in a position where maybe they don't have to throw a Hail Mary. Maybe it's a
Mhm.
25-yard, fade route or something like that, where you put a lot of pressure on our defense. Um, but you have more options. You don't have to throw a Hail Mary.
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
didn't use that. So, hey, kudos to our team. We pulled it out. That old saying, and we've learned from this, and we've been burned from this plenty of times throughout our years. Never
Yes.
leave it in the ref's hands. Never.
Well, yes, yes. Ohio State told us that
Yeah,
in 2002,
absolutely.
2001.
Well, I mean, shoot, going back to '80s, Notre Dame taught us that. With
Well,
certain,
yeah.
with certain calls in that rivalry. So we've been burned by refs since the '80s. You know,
And
um,
listen, one of the signs that we're back is all the national hate
of course,
that we get.
of,
It's
of
it's
course, of
it
course.
feels good. It's almost like the Grinch. My heart grows every time I get hate.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. I can't wait, man. I'm excited, man, and I know it's only getting better. We just got a 5-star quarterback flip the other day.
A
We're after
receiver
some.
too, no?
I'm sorry.
And a receiver?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, a receiver too. Mario's after some talent, man, and a lot of people always say this. It might be the perfect storm, man. Um, Mario's the guy for the job, and if we're winning, recruits see that. Why wouldn't you want to stay in Miami or go to Miami?
I think the culture that Cam has brought helps as well.
Absolutely.
The celebration has broken through from being a Miami thing to we saw Debo do it on what was it, Thursday night, Monday night, Sunday
Yep.
night. I forgot one of the primetime games.
Yep. You even
Um,
see the old lineman doing it. Like
yeah, yeah. You
it's
have. I
crazy.
think I saw people at Heat games doing it.
Yeah, fighting the Heat game too.
Yeah, there was, but yeah, see it at Heat game doing it. Somebody else did it as well. Oh, Panthers when the Florida Panthers when they did their cup celebration,
Oh
they
yeah.
were doing it as well. So it's crossed over, and it's when you have that movement where Miami crosses over from just a football team, it trends in the right direction to possibly being back to where fans are used to the U being.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't want to jump the gun and say we're back.
No, no, that's why I said it's trending in the right
It's
direction.
trending in the right direction. Absolutely. Everything's showing that by the talent we're pulling, the players we're having. Um, we haven't even seen people like Justin Scott. Like that. Really
Well,
get crazy snaps.
when
You
you
know,
said that Mario goes out and gets talent, that's who immediately jumped into my mind. What was it? Him landing in a helicopter? And
yeah, dude,
yeah, that's and like you said, we haven't even seen him yet.
we haven't
Ruben Bain
even
has
seen
been
him yet. We just got Ruben Bain back. We haven't had Rivers for pretty much the whole year. We're getting him back now. So these are all things that we haven't really been a complete football team yet. We
right.
haven't really been all together yet, you know? So let's see what this product really looks like now, when the O line's together completely. I want to see Damian get some more 100-yard games. I want to see us really, let's pound that
Well,
football,
I'll be honest. I don't think Damian's going to get 100-yard games.
Why not?
I think there's too much rotation in the running back room, and deservedly so.
The guy's explosive. The guy's a proven running back. He could
Yeah,
cut on a dime. We have an
yeah,
O line who could control for once, right? Who
yeah.
can control the line of scrimmage and really get a push. Why can't he get 100 yards? I think he can.
I
You know?
I just think that between Damian, Fletcher, and Lyle, um, there's just is that every single one of those running backs has made a case to get carries, and I think that it's a great problem to have where situation dictates who's out there. But you're right, Damian is going to get the bulk of the carries. Would I love to see more 100-yard games? Yes, but I think we're gonna see a lot more of the each running back in the 60 to 80-yard range where we're putting together 200-yard rushing games, but it's split amongst them three.
And that's fine, if we got to keep them fresh, I rather that go deeper in the season fresh than, versus having him, burnt out over so many carries, But the thing with Damian is he doesn't need many carries. He could get 8 to 10 carries, 11 carries, and maybe break some, Like, that's the thing with our offense that we haven't even really scratched the surface here, We're passing at a high level, which we're not really used to as Hurricane fans, to be honest with you.
Not recently.
At least recently, I'm just being honest. We haven't had a type of passer like this. The Eric King was pretty solid. Brad Kaya was pretty solid. If you want to go back a little bit, but even at
Berlin was okay.
Yeah, Berlin was all right. He had his moments, but even
Dorsey did the job.
Nobody of the stature of a Cam Ward.
Well, I mean, we have had two Heisman winners, Gino, Vinny, and some would say that Jim deserved his Heisman as well.
But what year are we talking about here?
Oh no, yeah, we're talking in the 80s.
Right. So in the last 20 years,
Yeah, no.
What have we really seen? He honestly is the best quarterback we've had in the last 20 years.
Cam?
Yeah.
Are you talking about NFL prospect or in college?
I mean, I'm talking about in general. I mean, if you want to talk college, and I granted, I know we only had him 6 games, right? But as a whole, it's hard to argue that his college, dude, he's solid, man.
I put Dorsey over him just because.
In the last 20, though, Dorsey was a little bit before that.
Dorsey was 2001. Dorsey was 2001, so 20 years.
So just shy.
Give me the 3, but
I'll give you a token 3 years. I'll give you token 3. But
I think Dorsey was the best quarterback we've had, and it was because he did things aside because he was Matt Leinart. He had a noodle arm, but what he did was he made the right play, read the right defenses. He was the quarterback that team needed, and Cam is trending towards being better than Ken, but up until right now, I think, in my opinion, Ken still has the top spot.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking like Hurricane all time here, in the last 20, or I'll give you the token 3, right? 23, 24. Yeah, definitely. Argue. Ken has a ring. It's hard to argue. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard, but at the same time, right now, from the offenses we've seen since those rings, we haven't had somebody like that. We had excitement with Derek King, but we
Tyler a little bit.
Yeah, but we just couldn't pull through. But it seems like this team is pulling through, man. The defense is tackling well. The DBs have had some mishaps, where they kind of get lost here with either decision making or get lost in the shuffle of things. But overall, the product's been well, brother. The product's been well, man. Something that we haven't seen here in a while. So it's refreshing to see.
No, and to piggyback off of what you said, Mario Cristobal this week on the Joe Rose show did state that this bye week was going to be a bye week of figuring out what needs to change. He did state that the same guys were making the same mistakes and that changes might have to be made in order to correct those mistakes. The thing that immediately jumped to my mind was that secondary that you spoke about. Mistakes have been more prevalent in that secondary than in any other unit, and there are players, young guys, that may jump into the spotlight here in that secondary. What are your thoughts? And there's a player in my mind that I'm going to look for right now that I'll tell you who it is.
My thoughts are, and it's kind of funny, right? Thinking like old school Hurricanes, right?
Right.
Um,
That's a good thing.
right, and that's a good thing, right? And that's a good problem to have when you have young guys who could come in there and make plays like that, and really challenge the older guys, the upperclassmen, to say, hey, if you're messing up, man, I'm gonna come in there and you might not see the field again. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I might take your spot. And it's not like you're gunning for him technically, but it's a respect thing. Like the best player is gonna see the field. And if you're making those mistakes, somebody else is going to get that opportunity. And if they don't make those mistakes and they capitalize, they're going to stay on that field, man.
Yeah,
So
the guy that immediately came to my mind was Saquon Patterson. Um, if man, give him a chance, and he might never let go. He might
absolutely
never
not, man.
let.
Listen, the guy's fast as heck, great in the zone, great ball skills, ball hawk. If he sees the field, you know. Like I said, man, the veteran guys might be in some trouble, man. But it might be a blessing for us. Like I said, depth is always nice. Something that also we haven't had in a while, and that's depth. And we're still thin in a lot of positions. Don't get me wrong, but I see him building it. I see the vision. He said 5 years when he got hired at a minimum
Right.
to build this back. We're year three. You can't tell me you don't see jumps from year 1 to 3.
No, 100%. Okay. So here's what I saw. We wanted we're Miami. We're the most impatient fan base in the nation. Um, but everyone wanted results, and then all of a sudden, houses just started getting cleaned. You had a ton of talent exit that building. Um, and something Mario has repeatedly said: listen, there's no lock on the door. If you're going to be a Miami Hurricane, you're going to be here and you're going to work. You're not
Absolutely.
going to be afraid of competition. You're not going to be afraid of getting better. If that's not a standard you can hold up to, we'll wish you well in the portal and we'll try to get you wherever you think fits best,
Yeah, man.
which I think establishes a culture again that this team hasn't had in a while.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. Like I said, you can see that culture in these tough last 2 games or last 3 games, really. You
Mhm.
can see that culture. Like I said, we would have folded, you know. But there's a reason why we're still number 6 in the country. There's a
Mhm.
reason why we still have an opportunity to get better. There's a reason why, we may be in the college playoff this year. But in reality, what we got to handle first is that ACC, and let's get our first ACC ring. So these FSU fans and UF fans could just shut up finally. And we have our ACC championship. Now it's time to watch us
That's
win
step
another ring.
right. That would be step one.
You know,
And
uh, but let's see too, man. Like this week there's a lot of top teams that are playing each other. Texas, Georgia. There's a lot of shakeup that may happen. You
yeah,
know,
yeah. Before we get into that, I wanna kind of piggyback a little bit on what we were talking about, a culture standard. Um, we were talking about how Mario had cleaned house. Um, this team is number 6 in the nation. This team is 6-0. But we mentioned that this team, it hasn't been smooth sailing. It hasn't been pretty. Alex Dono from Locked On Canes reported that Alex Restrepo told him that there was a players only meeting at 6-0. When have you heard a college football team have a players only meeting, which only happens if you're lost 4 in a row at 6-0? And it was reported that that was because we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. We're 6-0, but we're not playing Hurricane football. And like you, that brings a smile to my face.
absolutely, man. Like in the words of Dwayne Wade, I love it. I love it. I love it, man. That's what I love to see. That's what I want to see. Something, like I said, it doesn't feel like we've had really, leadership from top to bottom. I feel like,
Great word.
you know, we have leaders on defense, we have leaders on offense, and they're easy to spot. They're easy to identify. They're making plays every week, holding people accountable, holding themselves accountable. Mario always says this week in and week out, not only about Cam, but about this team. They're not
Mm-hmm.
really about personal accolades. They don't care about, what's showing up on that stat sheet. The only thing they care about is wins. And that's
100%.
all that should matter. That's
No,
all that
and
should matter, man.
as long as you keep that O on that side of the record, you're okay. So this Saturday, um, noon on ESPN. Is it ESPN? I think we're on ESPN. We have the Louisville Cardinals. They're 4-2. Their two losses coming to number 12 Notre Dame and number 21 now SMU. They're 2-1 in the ACC. You know what do you see in the Louisville Cardinals?
I feel like they've had a very inconsistent season. I know the record doesn't show it, right? But if you look at their wins, I mean, who are we talking about here? Jackson State, Austin, PA, Virginia, who's a tough team, Georgia
Well,
Tech,
it's an ACC team, so
yeah,
you get credit for it.
Georgia Tech, another ACC team who's played some teams tough this year, But besides that, it's the two teams that they have played, they've lost to, you know. The Notre Dame game, their defense played pretty well.
Some would say that they outplayed Notre Dame.
Yeah. I mean, at times they definitely deserve to win that game. I mean, Lord knows I'm not a big Notre Dame fan, to say the least, to say it respectfully. So
Neither am I.
I wish they go winless every year. That's just me. But hey, it is what it is.
Only Notre Dame can lose to Northern Illinois and still be ranked 12th in the nation. If
Right.
you had lost to Northern Illinois, they could not lose another game and they'd be ranked 100th because that's just what it is.
No, I know, man. No, and like I said, in that game though, if you look at it, not just box score, but if you were watching it, Notre Dame got 21 points in that first quarter, brother. Besides that, it was 10 points. Louisville allowed 10 points the rest of the game for 3 quarters, which tells me. No, I'm saying, like, Notre Dame scored 21 in that first. They only got 10 points in the rest of that game.
Right. Yeah.
So that tells me Louisville's defense was on point that game. They only allowed, like, I think 10 first downs or something like that, or 11 first downs, I think it was. That whole game there, 2 for 10 on third down conversions. That defense was playing stout.
Yeah.
Just for one reason or another, that first quarter killed them, and their offense, couldn't take off. Their quarterback played really well, man. Dual threat guy. He passed well. I believe he even rushed for 100 too. So
not
he was
Tyler
good,
Show, the other kid, right?
Slow, I think. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but
okay, yeah,
but he was torching them, man. So he played pretty well, which he kind of scares me too, man. We got to watch him because he's definitely a big dual threat guy. They have ex-Kane Donald Chaney over there too.
we noted some of the guys to watch on that Louisville team are the quarterback Tyler Show, and then here we go. Louisville in the last, I want to say since, oh my god, who's the, oh my god, his name escapes me. Northwestern kid, Dolphin backup 2 seasons ago. He got killed by the spotter against the Jets. Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh yeah, Teddy. Yeah, he's coaching out of Miami now.
Yeah, he's at Northwestern, but he started this. He followed Charlie Strong to Louisville, and from that moment, for some reason, Miami kids love going there. I don't know why, but evidence is this: their best running back, Isaac Brown, Homestead kid. Their best wide receiver, Ja'Cory Brooks, Miami guy.
Gotta watch out for
Their
that
best linebacker, Stanquan Clark, Miami guy. And then, like you said, Donald Chaney, former UM guy, there as well. So they're not devoid of talent because they're coming into the state of Miami to pull that talent out.
Right.
So continue. And I'm sorry for cutting you off. It's just you were right in terms of they have a ton of Miami kids on that team.
No, they have talent, man. But they're not no bum. It's not gonna be a walk in the park. They're gonna definitely challenge us. They have talent on the offense. Our defense needs to play sharp. Secondary cannot make mistakes. We can't make penalties to give them extra chances. We need to maybe have a spy on that guy all day. Having Ruben Bain back is gonna be huge. Let's see that defense, that D line really try to get pressure on them. And kind of try to nullify their speed a little bit, so we could get off the field. Because if we stay on the field for a long time, boys, it's going to be a long day.
Yeah. So like you said, the keys to the game: are running the football, making sure we control that clock, keeping that defense fresh, and like you said, limit those mistakes. Who are some of the guys that you're looking for in terms of spotlight for the Hurricanes?
On offense?
Just overall.
I mean, overall, I mean, if we're talking offense, obviously Cam Ward, but I know he's showing up no matter what, so we don't even got to question him. X is going to be there no matter what. I would love to see Arroyo get a little bit more involved. He's a huge weapon, and I feel like he's had a little spotlight here and there. I want to give him the ball more and see what he could do with it. Maybe we could mix in Ray a little bit too, give him a few snaps. I want to see, like I said, I want to see Damien get loose a few times. Their defense has been spotty at times. Like the SMU game, they allowed, I think it was like almost 200 yards rushing. They allowed 190 yards rushing. So they've allowed games where they've been able to run on them. So let's see if this is one for us.
So here's my question to you: is this a game to the detriment of his Heisman hopes, where we wish Cam Ward took a backseat? Let that O-line cook. Let those running backs cook.
This is the thing, man. This is crazy, right? Because, man, I've never trusted a quarterback so fast in my life, man. So I trust him, man. Like, honestly, and I like Dawson's play calling. It's. I know some people tend to be upset every now and then. Listen, not every play is going to be a banger.
Right.
Sometimes it's going to be cold. There's no offense that's been 100% on the whole time. Maybe like 2 or 3 historically.
The only thing that gets me with the play calling is get out of my face with those screens. It frustrates me to no end.
I don't like the overuse.
I understand the purpose. I understand why. But I wish it was phased out of our offense. What was it?
I don't like the overuse, man. Every now and then I'm fine with it. It
was 2018. We beat Georgia Tech with like a 3 seconds left on the clock. I don't know if you remember us here at Hard Rock.
Yeah.
It was a monsoon. And I think I don't remember if it was Manny or my God, what's this guy's name?
Rick?
The Temple, is he a Temple? No, he's the linebackers coach somewhere for the Lions, I think.
Oh, what are you talking about? Like an ex-head coach of ours or an ex-defensive coordinator?
He wore the tie. No, he wore the tie.
Al Golden.
Who?
Al Golden.
Al Golden. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I heard an H in there, and I was like, "8." No.
No.
Yeah. His play calling, and I swear to God, it was.
Oh, that guy was terrible, man.
Hold on. Screen left to Braxton Berrios. Next play, screen right to Braxton Berrios.
Yep.
Third play, screen left. And I was sitting 4th row, and I wanted to go on the field and just snap his neck. Like, enough with the screens.
Yeah, and we had pretty good running backs then too. So it was that was a hard football to watch, man. That's what I'm saying. The last 20 years, man, we've been through some shit, bro. So it's kind of refreshing to hopefully we can keep this up, right? Because we've had a few seasons, I think it's 2017, that we've
number 2 Notre Dame comes into the Rock and
we walked our ass out on a leash. So we've had moments, but then the wheels fall off. So let's see if the wheels can stay on this time. Hopefully we put on the new tires, not the used tires.
Well, it goes back to your point. I think that the leadership on this team is a little bit different than the leadership we've had on these teams before. Something I've noticed is Cam Ward goes out and completes a 60-yard bomb. Yeah, he does his celebration, but he goes back, sits on the bench, grabs an iPad, and grabs a phone.
Right.
He throws a pick, and he goes back to the sideline, sits on the bench, grabs an iPad, and grabs the phone. There's a even keeledness to this team that doesn't get too high to low, which lends itself to leadership in the toughest moments because there is no emotion. It's just execution in football
And
in
that's what it
those
should be.
moments that we haven't had before.
Right. Right. No, that's what it should be. That's what I'm saying. I feel like Mario's grown too. Coaching staff, they're grown together. Um, we have great coordinators. Both of our coordinators are rock stars, man. Let's hope we could keep them. They could be head coaches in the next couple of years somewhere. You know, um, look at the SMU coach. When he was with Manny here.
Right, Lashley?
Yeah, Rhett Lashley. And look what he's doing at SMU, killing it, dude. So
Yeah.
we've been, you could even argue Manny Diaz not going back to Duke. He went to Penn State and then went to Duke, and now Duke is actually doing pretty good too.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think.
I think their Duke is what? Which leads us into our next and I'll find out now. It leads us into the next portion. To close out the show, some of the games to watch. On Friday, we have FSU and Duke. So Manny Diaz, or I think Norvell goes into Duke, if I'm not mistaken, to play on Friday at 7 p.m. on ESPN.
Correct.
And Manny Diaz is 1-1 in the ACC. He's 5-1 overall. Let's see whose loss was to Georgia Tech, which is a team that they scare me.
And they've always played us well too, which I always look for those two teams every year, Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech, the Techs, because they always play us well, man. And I don't know what it is. They could suck. They could have 2 wins. Look at that season right there, right after Notre Dame, that they killed their season. So it's one of those things where that's what I love about college football, right? Anybody can beat you any given Sunday or weekday, really, right?
Yeah.
So you need to really buckle down and settle in. Now we're getting into our real ACC schedule here.
The wild times.
Right. So anything can happen, as we've seen before.
Right. So FSU plays at Duke Friday at 7 p.m. And then in terms of scoreboard watching for UM, the two biggest games are number 7 Alabama at number 11 Tennessee. That's a big game. And then the one that has the most, I guess the biggest stakes for us is number 5 Georgia visits number 1 Texas. Either way, no, that's a lie. If Georgia ends up beating Texas, I don't see us climbing. If Texas beats Georgia, I can see us coming up a spot, maybe 2. But I think that Ohio State bias is too strong to overcome. Yep. I think we'd be a top 5 team, but
I think right now, honestly, we're gonna have to have some people lose ahead of, maybe a couple teams lose ahead of us. The SEC always gonna have that. Oh, the SEC love. That ACC doesn't really get that love. I think honestly, even if Georgia or Texas loses, we might just stay at 6. Unless we put up a performance that we just dominate the hell out of them, and then the committee's like, well, they just blew them up by 50, or 40.
Yeah.
All right, cool. We'll move them up a spot, but that's max. I don't see us moving much right now. But at the end of the day, like I said, man, I'm not really worried about it. I just keep winning. Let's get to the ACC championship. If we win that, it's going to be automatic, man. It's going to be automatic.
Yeah, so Oregon plays a bad Purdue team this week. So there's no help. There's no help there, but let's see.
I will say this though. Purdue, they could put up 40, 50 points. They just did it, if not last week, the week before. So,
they're 1-5.
It's one of those games where people might overlook them, and then all of a sudden they come out and they give them a game. I'm not saying they're going to beat them, but hey, you never know.
Well, the week after, listen, I can't stand Baby Mahomes. It's just not my style.
Man. The guy walks like him, looks like him, talks like him. It's weird.
But the week after, Baby Mahomes goes into Ohio State. It's the one and only time that I'll be rooting for Baby Mahomes.
You know what Baby Mahomes reminds me of? There was a show on HBO back in the day called like Eastbound and Out, I think, or something like that.
Yeah. Powers.
Yeah. I think it was like Ricky Powers or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
That's what he reminds me of, dude. Like a young Ricky Powers. Like he's not really supposed to be there, but hell, he's kind of good, so whatever.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. So we will have. Please stay tuned to Kendall Sports Network. If you like Hurricane stuff, please hit the subscribe, hit the like button. Follow us on our social media. It's been on the scroll the whole time. You can follow me at Paramount Pete, Kendall Sports Network on X at KSN Sport, on IG KSN Sports Net. If you like Dolphins, we have the Dolphin Chronicles on Mondays. Tomorrow we might get a double dip to make up for yesterday. We may have This Week in Miami and False 9. The next time you see your boy Miami Manny will be giving us a pregame breakdown analysis of the Canes at Louisville, and look for his postgame analysis as well after. And then next Wednesday we will be talking hopefully another Cane victory on Wednesday at same time about 8:30. Miami Manny, what you got on your way out?
Listen, K-Nation, stay strong. Let's stay together, man. Let's not get out there and start spreading negativity, all right? Relax. Let's get to 7-0 and keep the train moving, baby. Go Canes.
Peace, guys.